I want to say welcome to the webinar today, a session dedicated to helping researcher and academic improve the quality of their scientific publication. My name is Ahmad Rijal, and I'll be your MC today. This event is proudly organized by Editage in collaboration with LIPI HKI USU. Okay, before we will start this meeting or this webinar with a welcoming speech from Mr. Sony Eka Nugraha, MSI, SFAM MSI Apoteker. Uh, After the talk, we'll have a Q&A session and we'll followed by a presentation from our speakers, Dr. Jacob Wickham, and we'll have a Q&A session. So please prepare your question and submit them via the chat or raise your hand to ask directly. Toward the end, don't forget to fill out the feedback form to receive your ear certificate. Okay, we will start from welcoming speech by Mr. Sony Eka Nugraha. To Mr. Sony Eka, the time is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Ahmad. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Peace and blessing to you all. On behalf of University of Sumatera Utara, I'm delighted to welcome you on this webinar, which entitled Ethical Use of AI in Scientific Writing, that hosted by collaboration between University of Sumatera Utara and Editage. And as we know, that AI is a bigger part of how we work today, especially in research and academic writing. Some kinds like tools that like AI assisted grammar and also some AI that used to generate text, especially when we do writing for manuscript to be submitted in a journal. But now, by using these tools, become a new responsibility that more and more journal right now starting create policy about how AI should and shouldn't be used. Some require that clearly state that AI shouldn't listed as an author. So this show us that how important and it's understand to benefits and boundaries by using AI in our writing. So that's why today's webinar is very relevant, not just for the researcher, but also especially for the students. Most of my students, I know that they most of them use an AI when they write their own essay. So that's why our research, our webinar today is very relevant. So I'm sorry, Hanol, to have you here, Dr. Jacob Wickham, as a journal editor and also experienced researcher that he will bring insightful topic today that how journal are adapting and in rising of AI and also how do we use AI aligned with the ethical standard. So I hope that this session will be informative and very useful in our future work. And once again, on behalf of University of Sumatera Utara, we thank to Dr. Jacob for your time and your willingness to be our speaker for this topic today. And at the end, thank you so much for all the participants that coming today. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. To Dr. Jacob Wickham, the time is yours. We have a 1 hour time, 1 hour for this webinar session. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Sony. And shalom alaikum, everyone.
Waalaikumsalam.
Just give me a second. First of all, can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can see.
Wonderful.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Okay, just going to stay back on the title page. And there we go. Okay, as Sony mentioned, I think one of the most important things he said was that the use of AI is a responsibility. And uh, I'll be discussing a lot of these responsibilities of the authors. And you may be surprised that journals are not discouraging its use. Maybe some university teachers might be struggling with it, yeah, with the students relying too much on AI, but there's a lot of useful aspects of it. I remember um, well, the first time I ever heard of a professor encouraging the use of AI um, was a Tsinghua University professor, and this is one of the top two universities in China. And she required all her students to use Grammarly before they gave her a draft of a like a scientific paper. And I was thinking, oh wow, that's interesting. She's encouraging her students to use it. And Grammarly is just a basic grammar checker, and it's not uh, generative AI like Chat GPT. And so journals will have different um, guidelines about the use of AI, disclosing its use. Um, Sony mentioned even you might have to include it as an author. Actually, I asked ChatGPT if it meets the qualifications of authorship, and it replied to me it doesn't because it cannot replace the original thought and analysis of a human. So you actually should not use it as an author or acknowledge it as an author, but you can acknowledge its use in the acknowledgement section of your paper. So let me advance the slides. Just a little introduction about me. I am in Moscow, Russia right now, and but I've worked in Asia and China especially, and the U.S. for over 10 years. And I'll just turn on my pointer because it's going to be useful. Okay, here's the scientific journal. I've been the senior managing editor for over 10 years. It's a Wiley journal. It's also a nonprofit society journal, the International Society of Zoological Sciences. And this is a top 5% ranked Q1 journal in the field of zoology. And we published several papers from Indonesian authors. We like to encourage authors from developing countries, especially, to submit to our journal. And I am an entomologist by training. I've been to Indonesia a few times. I have not been to the island of Sumatra yet, but I would love to go someday. So here is just a snapshot of what Integrative services can offer. Um, there's uh, a lot of specialist services they can offer to researchers and authors, and from everything from human expertise to AI tools that are cutting edge. We have over 20 years of experience. We've helped over 800,000 authors publish papers with over 2 million projects. We also have partnerships with publishers all over the world. So there's a lot of great professional help. I think the best mix of services is from using AI products and having human expertise as well, because anything that is generated by AI should be checked by an expert, and it cannot replace human expertise. And I'll just go over that in detail, and also about the ethical use of AI, and not so much as including as an author, but acknowledging its use. But it depends, from journal to journal. So you should read like guidelines very clearly when you submit your papers to scientific journals. So responsibility, that's, I think, the most key word today. I thank Sony again for mentioning that. So AI is transforming academic writing. I mentioned Grammarly is one of them. Editage also has one called PaperPal, which I'll get into towards the end of this talk. Um, and the AI tools, I think they're really good for like the boring work. For example, like proofreading, and citation management like EndNote or Mendeley or Zotor. AI is also very proficient at text summarization. It can summarize an entire subject. It can summarize a research paper. And these can be very useful, but don't substitute it, for actually reading the paper, because the things that are useful for your own research can, they're usually in the details. But to generate summaries, or if you're writing a review paper, these are good tools. I mentioned ChatGPT. So AI is, you all know, can generate whole text and passages of text. And it's being increasingly used by researchers at all career stages. Um, and here's the responsibility part. So, um, yeah, AI can support, but it cannot replace humans and a scientist's ability to critically think, and also originality. These uh, language models, these, especially generative AI, they're trained on existing text. It's very difficult to find something like original, because they are just, you give them prompts and then they give you feedback. And um, yeah, they're good with existing information, but science is trying to push the frontiers of knowledge, so it does lack originality. Another risk of using AI is plagiarism, because it may only slightly change the text and might not change text enough to, you or it may not attribute the right source. So you may miss a citation, and this can uh, risk a researcher being accused of plagiarism. So that's another, I would say, a risk. And it's also your responsibility, to make sure the citations are accurately attributed to the original sources, and don't over rely on an AI generated content. Don't be lazy. Um, there is a temptation to over rely on it. But I used it recently in a paper I was editing for a colleague, and so I I did one round of editing, and I made all the changes I thought you I could without the use of AI, and then I used PaperPal for a second round, and I was actually, marked the track changes. Either it was me or the AI, and I gave it back to the researcher. So, and I got some interesting feedback from the researcher, and he said I did a much better job than the AI. Yeah, but AI is really good at generating, like, paraphrasing, and or you can, there's a button you can click to make it sound, more academic. And so they give you alternative ways to write. So in this respect, I would consider it like a writing tool, as like a support tool. So don't use it to rely on generating the main text, but you can come up with the first draft of it, and then you can uh, use it as a tool to help improve and smooth the writing. Um, I've also used it a lot on papers of from authors from, his English is not their first language, China most especially. And I found out it does a pretty good job at taking very like Chinese English and improving it to make it sound more fluent. So those are my 2 cents from my personal experience. But in the end, when you're using it for your research, some professions like fields of study, like artificial intelligence itself, or um, in finance, you can actually use AI to analyze patterns in markets, And they actually are really good at making predictions. So, actually AI is part of the whole research regimen for these researchers. And of course, these researchers are disclosing its use. So you need to, in a nutshell, ensure transparency, originality, and accountability in the use of AI. And why does all this matter? Journals, and this changes daily. So I would recommend, um, looking at your target journal. Maybe even the publisher will have a blanket statement on the use of AI, so on the guidelines of its use and disclosures. And then if you use it ethically, this safeguards research credibility and publication success. And this webinar will explore the best practices for using AI responsibly and while maintaining academic integrity. So here's just an introduction. I'll, give you a few introductory slides, which I think I already have. I've even told you a couple stories about how I've used AI. And then its use in scientific writing, and then the ethical considerations. And then I'll briefly go over the benefits of language editing and translation services. Um, yeah, uh, it's okay for researchers to seek out professional help in their writing and editing. Um, and there's a huge benefit even just for asking a colleague to or a co-author to carefully read the paper. So you're not alone in your writing and publishing journey. And then finally, I'll give a recap. But the main consideration or the main topic here is the AI and scientific writing and the ethical considerations. So not only can you use it, but it can really help you a lot. And um, especially for the boring tasks, AI is like really, really good. I would say a writing partner. Um, make sure all the figures are referred to in the text, that you're using the same conventions, British English or American English, whatever your target journal language is, and that all your references are there. And you mentioned every reference, and then every reference it's in the reference section is actually cited in the text as well. So like AI does a wonderful job at these things. But I'm sure you want to hear about the generative AI and when you know when should you disclose the use of AI? I used Grammarly. Okay, should I disclose that in you know in my paper? Well, you don't have to, because these grammar checkers are not considered generative AI. So I think everybody in this webinar knows the importance of scientific writing and publishing, about disseminating the results of your research to the global scientific community. It also gives your work validation, and drives innovation in various fields of study and societal progress, all those good things about scientific research. And I think expanding the frontiers of science, this is, and also medicine as well. I know there's probably some medical professionals as well in this webinar, and ultimately fosters collaboration and interdisciplinary research worldwide. For those of you who've published scientific papers, this is just the entire scientific publication process in a nutshell. As the editor of Integrative Zoology, here the scientists, after they do the research and choose their journal and submit it, I've done a lot of work on the editorial screening. Here, we've been using AI tools for a long time, over 10 years. I authenticate and also turn it in. We can check for plagiarism. And then the peer review process, I've handled over 1,000 papers for the journal. So we have the peer review process, all those manuscripts that get sent out for peer review. There's more and more instances of manuscripts being rejected before peer review. We call these desk rejections. And this is probably the biggest hurdle now. So you should have not only a really well-written manuscript, but you should also convince the editor of the originality and significance of your work. So you can get it sent out for peer review. Once you get your manuscript sent out for peer review, yeah, the experts in your field, usually 2 or 3, will give reviews. They make recommendations to the editor, and then the editor makes a recommendation to the editor-in-chief. We usually look at the reviews, and then I make an editor recommendation to my editor-in-chief. Then we give the decision back to the authors, and they usually you get asked to revise your paper and also provide a detailed response to the reviewers in your responding letters. And then after you get your manuscript accepted, the manuscript undergoes more copy editing, typesetting, proofreading, and you'll get to check the proofs. Then finally, the manuscript will be published, usually as an accepted article or early view. And then it gets assigned to an actual issue. It can be in print or online, or it can be both. There's a lot of avoidable rejections. These are some key pitfalls to avoid in the scientific publishing world. One is rejections that you can avoid. So these most often is a lack of fit with the journal scope, or you don't follow the author instructions, or there's problems with the language and grammar skills. It could also be you're targeting too high of an impact factor of a journal. I've seen some manuscripts, they actually, there's nothing wrong with them, and they get rejected at one of the last stages. And they say that the manuscript did not attract enough support from the reviewers and editors for publication in that journal. Usually we try to avoid that by, after the first round of review, to reject the paper, or before it gets sent out for peer review. So usually if you get asked to make a revision, we're not going to waste your time to make you revise a paper that is not competitive for that journal. Another pitfall is failure to adhere to ethical guidelines or proper citation of sources. This can be, or if you have too much text overlap. Sometimes the science is really good on papers and there's too much text overlap. And in these cases, we tell the authors to try to rewrite and paraphrase their text. And then one big red flag is our predatory journals. There's over 40,000 journals now, and unfortunately, I think about 10,000 journals are predatory. So these are open access journals that have little or no peer review, and they'll publish your research very quickly for profit without providing credible peer review. And there's some checkers out there that you can use. For example, the Beals list and then predatoryjournals.com. So you can check to see if a journal is predatory or not. Yeah, be careful of your email inbox. There's invitations for submitting to open access journals. That's the most common junk mail that I receive nowadays. So just be careful about that. Okay, so where does AI fit in? AI can help you with manuscript preparation, from grammar checkers to some more sophisticated tools like paraphrasing and rewriting. And also, so that's on the author end. And then over here, yeah, I told you that we've been using AI for over 10 years. And the editorial screening, we use Authenticate or Turnitin to see if the paper has text overlap with previously published work and also online sources. So yeah, we're also relying on AI to do these plagiarism checks. And then peer review, was a little confused when I saw the AI here as well, but um, as a handling editor for a scientific journal, uh, and I use Scholar One, uh, I actually get suggested reviewers based on your abstract and then all the published abstracts in the world. And they actually recommend about 30 reviewers for every one of the articles that are submitted. Sometimes they're way off, because they're just basically using the abstract that the author wrote, and then the published abstracts. And so, yeah, I think the hardest job I have as a journal editor is finding enough peer reviewers. So yeah, this is also, this is pretty recent, only the last 2 or 3 years that we get these reviewer suggestions. So okay, so the potential of AI is just enormous, but it creates ethical issues, as you can plainly see. So there's risk of plagiarism. I also mentioned that these AI um, programs are trained on existing literature, so there is a lack of originality in it. There's also confidentiality. Your paper is an unpublished confidential document, and if you're giving it to an AI interface, the AI is also being trained on your original work. So you may lose some confidentiality. And there's a lot of AI generators, they're not transparent on how the, you know, how the models are trained. So you just got to be careful. If you want to keep your work confidential, don't ever submit it to AI. Uh, you may also have these AI hallucinations where you may have fabricated citations, or they might just be misattributed if you rely solely on AI. So if you depend on it too much, this can reduce critical thinking and academic rigor. So those are three main ethical considerations. But here's the potential, and I think the pluses here outweigh the minuses on top. So it can really help a lot with writing, proofreading, and citation management. They're great at generating outlines um, and grant proposals. You won't miss any critical sections in your grant proposals. They're actually very efficient tools at providing outlines for a grant proposal. And AI is also really good at supporting non-native English speakers and improving clarity and readability. I'm just amazed how well it works for that. Because I've seen yeah, some text, I don't even understand it. And AI helps to improve the clarity and readability. Of course, I'll ask the authors, to check to see if the original meaning is as they intended. Uh, so, but all the content that's generated, you should review it and check it because it may have these inaccuracies. AI also can speed up literature reviews and then summarization of complex research. So, and I'll go over some tools, and it does a great job. It even does a great job at finding like newly published papers. Like the day that they're published, you can get emails from these. Yeah, one of them is our discovery, and you can get a summary of all the research papers. You just give some keywords, and you'll get all the latest research papers in your field. Okay, so AI and scientific writing. So here are some of the tools. It's a new one from China, DeepSeek, and then of course you've heard the ChatGPT. Um, when this first came out, I actually asked it a lot about scientific writing and helping authors. And I got some interesting responses from it. And so yeah, here are some other AI tools. Editage has Mind the Graph, for creating infographics and graphical abstracts. Then there's PaperPal, also part of the editage and our discovery, and then Grammarly, and then SCite as well. So you probably have used Grammarly in the past. Actually, I use it too. And I'll do a little comparison between PaperPal and Grammarly. They both have their pluses and minuses. Also, I mentioned, AI is great for the boring stuff. So checklist, structures, cross-checking, language quality, all the boring stuff. It's kind of nice that AI can take care of this, so you can devote more energy to the creativity and originality. So that's what machines do really well, especially the grammar checkers. I think verb subject disagreement and articles in English using or the does a great job. And then what can they do? Okay, I've mentioned grammar improvement, paraphrasing, rewriting, as basically as a language editing tool, or uh, as a helper as you're writing your manuscripts. And then research summarization. AI does a wonderful job. Of course, citation reference management. It's great that they can automatically format your manuscript. And now more and more of these AI programs can help with language translation as well. But yeah, here's in the red here, research assistance and idea generating. So you can also use it as like a chat bot to help you brainstorm as well. And that's, I think, one of the most interesting parts of using AI. So AI can help save time because it's taking care of the boring stuff, can enhance clarity and reduces your effort, especially with formatting, like citations. And then these are the risks, which I've already gone over. So plagiarism, misattributed citations, or hallucinations, so I can invent citations. There may be some biases depending on how the AI model has been trained. PaperPal has been trained on scientific writing, so it's actually advantage over Grammarly, which has been trained on a more broad base. Don't over rely on it because it'll weaken your critical thinking and writing skills. And you should also, it's unclear how AI generates certain outputs. So, and, you have to watch out for, I would say, confidentiality too, because, you might be training the AI with your own work, your own original work, and another researcher can benefit from that to your detriment. So when can you use it? When does it add value? It adds value when you're in early stages of drafting your papers. It can generate outlines, or it can also help you with paraphrasing and improving the clarity of your writing. So it's wonderful at catching grammar mistakes. You can do a word count reduction, and you can make the writing more concise. I think everyone in this webinar has been asked before to like reduce the word count on like an abstract or the paper itself. So AI is really good at generating alternatives, which you should review. Make sure your voice shines through your writing, and it's not replaced by AI. Okay, here's the main part of the webinar. Next, like 15-20 minutes I want to spend on ethical considerations, and then I'll really briefly go over the language editing services. I'll just start with a quote from Albert Einstein. Anyone who doesn't take truth seriously in small matters cannot be trusted in large ones either. I think it's very true with AI because it's a huge responsibility. So academic integrity is a commitment to and demonstration of honest and moral behavior in an academic setting. As scientists, I think we're held up to very high standards as especially in terms of ethics. It's also important, and this is for like citations, to credit the people with the original ideas. And you can do this by having proper citations and accurate citations. So, no matter what outputs you get from AI, you got to make sure that the ideas are accurately attributed to those that had created those ideas. So basically, you got to acknowledge contributions of others. Otherwise, it may be considered plagiarism. So to generalize, be honest and credit the contribution of others, including AI. So, okay, so let's say you submit to a journal. You've used generative AI. You should keep track of the prompts that you used and the outputs that you received from it. And that's actually included in the as supplementary files that you submit to the journal. So, and so just check with the instructions for authors. And usually every publisher, every journal should have a statement of um, how to disclose the use of AI. So it's better to be honest and not hide the fact that you've used it. So yeah, what do the journals say? Most academic publishers agree AI software such as ChatGPT cannot be used listed as an author. It can be used, but not listed as an author. So it's not banned. So Springer Nature is one example, permits the use of such tools in preparing manuscripts, as long as the full details are disclosed in the manuscript, either in the methods section or in the acknowledgement section, or as a supplementary file for review. So other journals have seen the adoption of ChatGPT as inevitable. So they encourage authors to be open and clear about its use. And then Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences of the United States of America. They said that if you use ChatGPT or generative AI, it needs to be acknowledged. So every publisher has its own say. So I would frequently check back on that topic, look at the instructions for authors and also the publishers. And every journal has a statement about use of AI. So just follow the journal guidelines. So be transparent. Always disclose its use to maintain honesty and openness. And this is, I think, what I would encourage the most. Be accountable. You are responsible for the final content. So ensure that you review and also edit all the output from AI. So very, very important. Make sure your own unique voice shines through in your writing. And then originality. So preserve your unique voice and insights while using AI. And this, I said AI are tools. It's a writing tool. It shouldn't replace you. It's only a tool. So it should complement but not replace your creative work. So disclose it, be accountable for it, evaluate all the output, evaluate the accuracy and reliability of the content. So you should review every word it generates. And then you should, to support ethical standards, you should have full disclosure of the use of AI. And this will help prevent its misuse and ensure that it complements rather than replaces human input for scholarly work. So you're responsible. So be careful with the plagiarism. Sometimes the content is just changed slightly. So the output's too similar to the original text. And this may lead to plagiarism. For example, paraphrasing, might not provide the right citations to the original source. So, and this results in uncredited use of others' ideas. So make sure you cite properly. And also another pitfall is subtle repetition of ideas. So AI tools may paraphrase, generate content that replicates ideas too closely without introducing sufficient transformation. And this can be flagged as plagiarism during peer review. So here's some tips on maintaining originality after using AI. You should carefully read through the generated content and make sure you can make adjustments to it. Actually, it'll generate the content. You can actually edit directly into the outputs and make sure your voice comes through. You can add your own personal insights. Yeah. It's okay to use AI for proofreading or even generating ideas, but don't use AI in the results section or interpretation section. Make sure that your original thoughts are there and clearly presented and not overwritten by AI generated suggestions. So, and don't over rely on it. Use it for tasks like grammar and summarization, but don't substitute those critical sections like the analysis and conclusions. So make sure you maintain full control of the content. Don't let AI dominate. You can also customize AI suggestions. This AI can generate content based on your own rating style or your unique perspective. And also make sure it's consistent. You may generate your own content, and then AI generates content. Make sure that the writing is consistent. It shouldn't look like two authors have written the content. It should be just one author. It should be you. So maintain consistency in tone, style, and voice. And you should edit any inconsistencies that might arise from AI tools' influence. So here's some best practices. Be transparent, disclose its use. Make sure you're citing properly. Never use AI to fabricate data or plagiarize content. And don't over rely on it. Respect privacy and confidentiality. You have to ensure that you're following ethical guidelines related to data privacy, especially when handling sensitive or confidential information. So yeah, be careful with your manuscript. It actually is a confidential document until it's published. Always apply human review and judgment to AI generated content. Make sure it aligns with your intent, your intended meaning, and meets academic standards. Be mindful of the biases. And there's actually a lot, if you've used AI tools, you can actually identify what those biases are and then use it responsibly. And you can continuously learn and adapt. So stay updated on best practices for AI use and the ethical guidelines to ensure responsible and informed application of AI in your work. So here's some unethical use examples: fabricating data, plagiarism, misleading citations, or missing attributions, or over-reliance. And then on the right side of your screen, you can use AI for generating ideas, researching, outlining, or creating an introduction. That's also a good, but don't use it in the analysis and conclusion sections. Be careful there, unless you're only using it as a writing tool. Okay, I wanted to briefly discuss, there's basically an arms race going on with AI. AI is also being used to check the use of AI. Journals will use authenticate or Turnitin. But yeah, there's also some tools, and they're evolving. ChatGPT, well, it just says GPT-0, AI text classifier, and plage. So yeah, journals are trying to determine if AI wrote text, but so far, the AI detection tools have so far proved unable to pick out such text reliably while avoiding flagging human written prose as the product of AI. So the machines don't even know if AI generated it or the authors wrote it. So, we're still in this gray area. It's best to disclose its use and be honest with the journal. So again, transparency is very important. Then accountability. You need to take responsibility for the final content and ensure that AI tools are used ethically and appropriately. And then make sure your own unique voice shines through in your writing. So I think the best mix of AI is experts, human expertise, complementing AI. So AI can assist in boring stuff like generating some content or paraphrasing or even proofreading. But keep in mind, it's only one part of the writing process. Writing and editing is very hard work, and it's an iterative process. You write and then you edit. You write and then you edit. You have um, colleagues look at your writing and get their inputs. And if you use AI as a tool, it can complement your writing, not replace your writing. So while AI can handle repetitive tasks, human editors bring in nuanced judgment, contextual understanding, and subject matter expertise. So basically, uh, some of the best writing can happen when there's collaboration between AI and professionals. So you can leverage AI alongside professional editors, and this can be a way to deliver both accuracy and clarity and result in high quality academic writing. I've seen AI give great suggestions to improve the clarity of writing. Especially, I gave the example of some Asian English. I picked on China, but uh, basically any author English as a second language, or even native English speakers that are not very good writers, AI can really help a lot with clarity. But make sure that human experts are still you should review all the content that is generated and make sure it aligns well with your academic purpose and also with the audience. And the AI is very efficient, especially with handling repetitive tasks. But if you combine the efficiency of AI and the precision of professional editors, and this can produce great scientific writing. Okay, now I'll just go over some benefits of language editing and translation services. And I'll just go over a few examples of the actual tools that are out there and how you can use them to your advantage. Some of these are available for you for free. And then there's some paid ones which allow you to use different features of AI, which you might find to be very helpful. And you should also, you can play with the AI tools and figure out the pros and cons, the pluses and minuses of using them. Because I still think the AI is in its infancy. It's a new tool, and we're still learning how to use it to our advantage. So purpose of professional editing services, and let's say even before AI, you can really help with all these things: clarity, coherence, quality, and ensuring adherence to style guidelines for specific journals. And they can increase your probability of acceptance. So yeah, I think we all know this. So professional editing services, on one side, here you can enhance the objectivity of your research and your writing and focus on the language, clarity, and structure. And there's a lot of subject matter expertise. All these journal editing services, professional editing services, they're in touch with experts in your field. So you actually, your work is not only checked by professional editors, but by subject matter experts as well. and they can give fresh insights on your writing. And then we turn it back to you. We give you comments, and which you're responsible for. Ultimately, every author is responsible for the conclusions and the final publication. So here's where you come in. You retain control over all the content of your manuscript and the accuracy of it and the integrity of the research. And then you can incorporate the feedback selectively. You can accept some comments or you can reject comments. It's ultimately up to you which suggestions to accept or reject. Professional editing services can be very helpful if English is not your native language, or even native English speakers. They can benefit a lot from having professional editing help. Or if you have a really high impact factor paper or journal that you're trying to submit to, or if an important grant, or even your dissertation. I had a professional editor look at my dissertation over 15 years ago now, but or if you're on a tight deadline, it can help speed up the process. Or if you have a very niche topic, a specialized editing expertise, you can get subject-specific editing. So all these are benefits and considerations for professional editing services. And of course, these are, I think, more about what the company is offering, whatever service you go for. They have the right expertise and good quality, and they meet your turnaround time and cost and value, et cetera, et cetera. So, and finally, you should have good communication with your editor. You should have multiple rounds of revisions. You should be able to respond to your editor and get some feedback. So you should do a couple rounds, and then guarantees and revisions. So make sure you can inquire about regarding revisions or corrections after the initial editing process. So again, editing is iterative. You should go through multiple rounds of it. So and these are important considerations when you're considering your editing service provider. Even so far as they can help you format it for a specific journal. So here are 3 tools I wanted to briefly go over. So there's Mind the Graph and R Discovery, PaperPal. And PaperPal has been developed by Editage, and one benefit there has been trained on scientific papers. So Editage Plus is a premium subscription to Editage, and it gives you access to a lot of really great AI tools, and they're very cutting edge. And they also have there's a human side to it as well. Your content can be looked over by experts in your field. Okay, so I'll first go over PaperPal. PaperPal is really great at generating outlines. This is outline mode in coach mode. And this can be, you can give it a question, and then it can give you all these nice background, topic importance, existing knowledge, the knowledge gap, the rationale, research question, aims and objectives, and even hypotheses, just on one little topic. So it's great at generating outlines. So they can assist, but don't replace the writing process. So this is, of course, a medical topic. Important steps for artificial intelligence-based risk assessment of older adults. So really great at generating some outlines here. There's also a writing tool here. For those of you that have tried PaperPal, you can try it for free. And it can give you, you can have a limited use of some of these features. For example, paraphrasing, word count reduction, making it more academic, or providing synonyms. And you can select a passage, either from a sentence to an entire paragraph or several paragraphs, but it's limited to like 300 words because they want you to review the content and not just do the entire paper in 30 seconds. So you use it as a writing tool and just very small text passages. Sometimes it's good to have like a big chunk, like 2 or 3 paragraphs, because it can take into account the flow of your writing and the overall idea of a certain section. So there's an example of word count reduction. There's a paragraph here that they cut it down 13 words and it did a good job. But you should actually edit the output, because there might be some mistakes that it makes. And then here's an example of paraphrasing. And here's the original text, which mirrors this one. And then it gives you an alternative text, and this can help with reducing plagiarism. Make sure that you cite the original source so that doesn't get lost. And then there's another feature, make academic, and here you can see that it changes some words. Instead of reduced congestion in London, it changes the word to alleviating congestion, so it makes it sound more scientific. And this is also helpful. I've also seen some poorly written work actually changed into like very good academic sounding writing as well. But make sure you review and you edit the output before you actually insert it into the manuscript. So just a few uh, examples here. So you can adopt a formal academic tone. And again, you can incorporate some terms and phrases as well in here as well. So it helps to build your own library as well. I think Grammarly can do that too. You can make your own library of terms to insert in the paper. And here is another example of writing a text suggester. So basically, you can start with the narrative of your paragraph, and then the text suggestion can of what your next sentence will be, what can come next. So you can have here's a blanket statement on cancer, and then in the blue here is the suggested text to continue the writing. So you can do keep writing, expand on it, write a counter argument, write a translation, or write a transition sentence, or write an impact statement. So you can change a variety of different angles, and you can customize what actually will come next in the writing. So yeah, this is interesting. So you can also take that text, you can uh, contrast it, make it professional, make it concise, or expand it further. So here is actually, I think, a writing partner. But be careful. It's don't over rely on it. You can also use it to answer some questions on research, but be careful that it's not an artificial intelligence hallucination. So here's you can ask it a question: how well will the rollout of 5G networks enhance the capabilities and applications of the Internet of Things? And then actually finds a citation, and you can actually generate some text and a citation as well. But you should verify that it's actually an accurate citation. So you can quickly save and cite the paper. Yeah, very efficient tool. But be careful with it. Make sure it's accurate. And then, of course, just like the EndNote and Mendeley and Zotero, it can format your citations as well. So PaperPal is a little better than Grammarly. I would say not a little better, but a lot better because it's trained on scientific papers. But actually, there's my secret. I run Grammarly after a round of PaperPal editing because this can do the scientific editing, and then Grammarly has been trained on a more broad, it's been trained extremely broad and can generate very good writing. So Grammarly can actually catch some mistakes that PaperPal makes. So while this is good for scientific writing, Grammarly, you can always use at the end of your writing just as a final check. So you have verb subject agreement and proper articles. So you can use the best of both worlds. Our discovery really quickly is, this can give you personalized recommendations on research papers. You can provide it with some keywords or some co-authors or other scientists you want to follow. And as soon as new publications have been published, you can have papers delivered to your email inbox. And it's also really great at research summarizations as well. I'd urge you to take advantage of our discovery as well. And you can stay up to date with the latest publications in your field. And there's actually a Chrome plugin. There's also an app on your cell phone. And it can give you some quick summaries. It can make it into a podcast. You can listen to papers, and actually can give you some good summaries as well. So you can listen to full papers or audio summaries. You can also consume research easily with shorts. They can provide you nice summaries, some of the key figures of papers. This can help you save time in your literature reviews. And then this is also part of the Editage ecosystem of services, Mind the Graph. This can help you with illustrations for papers or graphical abstracts or infographics as well. And they actually have a database of a lot of really cool illustrations, over 80,000 of them. A lot of medical research papers or common icons that you use in research, or animals or different parts of the body or cells. A lot of genetics illustrations. And this can help you customize an infographic or a graphical abstract. And you can actually partner with Editage as well to help with this. Because graphical abstracts are becoming more and more important part of a scientific publication. It's published online alongside your full paper, and it helps promote your research and share it on social media. So in conclusion, and I think we got a few more minutes left, and I don't mind going over time a little bit for the Q&A session. AI is becoming increasingly important tool in research, and especially with the writing and some of the machine-like tasks. It can make your writing more efficient and helps a lot with paraphrasing or enhancing clarity of your writing. But don't let it replace your writing, and don't over-rely on it. And always observe the use policies and stay updated on developments with the journals and the guidelines that they give. So academic writing is very integral to your work. It's basically why we're all researchers. That's the end result. Our end goal is publications. So just be transparent, be accountable, and keep your originality. And in a nutshell, those are the three pillars of ethical use of AI. And you can take advantage of professional editing services. This can really help increase your chances of publication success. Don't forget, you are responsible for the final content, and that remains with you as the author. So I wanted to thank everyone for their attention. We finished right on an hour. So perfect timing. So I will stop sharing, and I'll be happy to take any questions you have at this time. And I wish everyone the best of luck in your publication success.
Baik,
So,
Bapak, silakan kalau ada yang mau bertanya. Mungkin apabila belum bisa dalam bahasa Inggris, mungkin nanti kan kami bantu untuk menerjemahkannya kepada Bapak Jacob.
Yes, I have one question.
Silakan Bapak Zul.
Yeah. Are
Hi,
the
Zul.
journal written with AI still worthy of being called scientific journal?
Can you repeat your question, please?
are journal written with AI still worthy of being called, if being called it scientific journal? Because the AI that we know already, AI it is electronic brain, not use the brain by the human, and we call it that it is scientific. And the scientific, of course, we have to think about it and analyze the system. And when we come to the A, sometimes I might not I might not read all the content of AI, and I put it as a as a sentence in the journal, and it is correct. How can even me? I'm not understand what it is. Uh, become a scientific journal, and it is. I'm not thinking about it. Maybe the reader. He said that it is scientific. I'm not. I
Yeah, it's
wrote
not.
on that, but I'm not believe what I wrote because it is belong to AI.
Yes, 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 yes.
What do you think about it?
I'm I'm deeply afraid of AI as a journal editor. It's yeah, there's AI detectors, but they don't work. We don't know.
Mm.
I think it can undermine science. If it can totally undermine the scientific process. It's not scientific anymore. It
Yeah. Okay. I
it's
agree
just
on that. We cannot put the AI above of our brain because there is a still test in our result of writing. Is
yeah.
it?
And in the peer review process as well, there's some scientists, they don't have time for peer review and they ask AI to do it. So it's you can have hear AI being reviewed by AI. So yeah, huge risks. Like I'm actually really afraid of AI being over relied on. And you know, I led another webinar on actually the use of AI as part of the scientific process. And so far, only in the fields of finance, yeah, they actually use an AI
Yeah.
to analyze patterns and they actually make really good predictions. But here, the authors are actually, they copy the prompt and then they also copy the response, the output of AI, and they include that in the scientific paper. So actually, it is being AI being reviewed by humans.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Right.
but
Thank you.
for medical science, it would be very dangerous
Hmm.
to rely on AI, I think. But yeah, it, you should take the suggestions, but ultimately it's the authors that you're taking 100% responsibility for the final outputs. So yeah, how can you say 100% if AI is involved? No, it's yeah, we're huge responsibility, as Sony mentioned in the opening sentence of this webinar.
Yes, because when we use the Grammarly is not responsible for the content of the result of our writing. Grammarly just only check the sentence. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Pak
you.
Zul.
We can have an hour-long discussion on that one topic, on
Yeah.
one question.
We have still two more questions, and after that, we have a session from editors that they will give some announcement. Is there anyone want to ask a question? Please raise your hand and open your uh, microphone to speak directly to Mr. Jacob. So, Bapak Ibu, the key point from utilize the AI while we are writing in good manuscript is 100% the output of the manuscript is our responsibility. So if you know that Jacob, like my students tell that there is an AI to make the AI generate text not become AI. like use AI to humanize the text. So I think that the tools cannot detect that whether the manuscript is generated by AI or writing by human. So I think is part of our responsible as academicians to make sure that our academic integrity is above the AI. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Is
good
the
point.
anyone?
And
Yeah. Is there anyone of students maybe or lecturers wanna ask question, or maybe you can type on the chat box?
Yes, me, Pak Sony.
Yes, Madam Sally, time is yours.
Okay, thank you. Uh, Thank you for Jacob for your presentation. So impressive. So I am Sally. Nice to meet you. Introduce to me, Jacob. I want to asking you about the how we are the academician to decision if the AI can help our script.
mhm,
This
mm,
is my question. Because what? Because if we can write for ourselves or we can write uh, the script with myself, how they using the AI? That's right. We uh how the AI can guarantee us as the academician to save our script is not plagiarism. Yes, maybe only the question for me. And thank you before. And nice
mhm.
to meet you. Maybe we can continue with the LIPI HKI with the Pak Sony to discuss too deep about the AI. Thank you, Pak
Oh
Sony.
yeah,
Thank you, Jacob.
great topic, great topic. Thank you, Sally, for your comment and question. So yeah, it's up to you as authors. You're responsible for the content. The AI, I actually can see it as a useful tool for reducing plagiarism, not creating more of it. I get a report on every manuscript on a text overlap. And I think some of these text overlap reports, I think they're too sensitive. I'm amazed what gets flagged as text overlap, especially in the methodology section. That's one of the things about science is that it has to be repeatable. And so I see a lot of text overlap in the method section. So I encourage authors to just maybe cite the papers, or you modified the methods and you can describe how you modified them. But it gets flagged, and then the journal has to, okay, you have to reduce it below, I don't know, 25% or 15%, or even if you self-plagiarize, like your previously published work gets flagged as text overlap. So you have to paraphrase somewhat. And here I've seen the AI tools to say something slightly different way, but keep the same meaning. And if you don't like the output, you can regenerate and edit and follow suggestions and keep the original sources cited as well. And I've seen that as a tool to help reduce the text overlap. It's important to actually get the document from iAuthenticate and cross-reference. Some of the journals will actually give these to you if text overlap is a problem. So get that PDF file, and it actually highlights every single uh, phrase or sentence that gets flagged for text overlap, and then you can concentrate on those sections. So that's how I'd say maintain your own voice, but you know you're just beating a machine anyways, because the the text overlap plagiarism detectors are just an AI tool. So yeah, I should not over rely on that. Yeah, I was telling authors, I think it's too sensitive. Like you can try changing some words around, and it's actually I
Yes.
can give a separate webinar on paraphrasing without AI as well. You can use a passive voice or active voice. Change your voice, and that will actually. um, there's a lot of good ways to do it without AI too.
Okay.
Okay, I get it. Thank you, Jacob. Thank you for
Yeah,
your
thanks.
explanation.
Thanks for your thoughtful
Yes,
question.
yes, thank you. Thank you, Pak Sony.
Thank you. Unfortunately, Bapak Ibu, we have reached our session today. It's more than 10 minutes above the schedules. So thank you so much, Mr. Jacob. So there's a sponsor message that for those who want to try paper poll, bagi Bapak Ibu yang mau mencoba paper poll, jadi paper poll ini merupakan AI from Editage, jadi bisa menghubungi kami pihak pihak KI. So for those who wants to try the paper poll application that is an AI, not generate text AI, but AI for grammar checker before we submitting the paper. I have tried the paper, but it's quite good to make sure that our manuscript is not uh, detected as a bad grammar text. So that's why you can check your manuscript using a paper route to make sure that your manuscript is right in a good grammatical text, especially for the academic purpose. So for this one to try, you can ask Ahmad as our staff in Libya KI, and we can share the free account, free active, free account for several persons. Thank you so much, Dr. Jacob, for your time and William,
Yep,
and thank
you're
you
welcome.
so
And
much for the
I,
editage, for the sponsorship. Our
yep.
meeting today, it's more than 100, and also we have live on YouTube. Mr. Jacob, it's about 200
Great.
people joining us today. Thank you so much for
Wonderful.
your time, and thank you so much for the editage. Thank you.
Yep.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye bye. Good.
Good luck, everyone.
Okay.
You can
Thank
experiment
you,
with
Jacob. Thank you, Pak
with
Sony.
paper
Thank
tail.
you,
Bye.
THKI.
Thank you.